Hey you guys, what's up? It's Mossy from Pro Gamer Academy. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about this gameplay update that just dropped. As you can see, this is in addition to the recent patch. They've kind of taken a look at some of the numbers and they're figuring out where they want heroes to be, what heroes are a little too good, what heroes might need a buff. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first change we see here is that Alchemist, his Greevil's Greed stack duration has been reduced. So essentially what this means is you can see at the top of the skill under recent kill window, that's actually 36 now, and before it was 40. So what this means is, if Alchemist kills another unit which yields gold within the next 36 seconds, then he gets the bonus gold. But that's the timer in it, and it will time out after a period of time. Going down to Arc Warden, we can see his base strength received a little bit of a nerf. Additionally, his level 10 and 20 talents both got nerfed. I think Arc Warden was performing just a little bit too good, so he's going to be scaled back just a little bit with some of those nerfs. Going down to Axe, we can see the Counter Helix Shard, the attack speed. If you don't remember, we can go to the Axe Shard really quick. And his shard causes his attacks to have a chance to proc Counter Helix. And so what they've done in this little change is they've increased the attack speed, which is nice. Nice little buff there. I'm sure not. I'm really not too sure if we'll see Axe take this too often, but it is a nice quality of life buff for him. Then we get down to Batrider. We can see he got a base movement speed increase of 5. And it might not seem like a big deal, but for a hero like Batrider, that's actually pretty insane. It's pretty significant. Batrider, obviously a hero that he relies a lot on being faster than other heroes just to be able to catch up and lasso them, and then bringing them back at all stages of the game. So I expect we'll see a decent win rate increase here. Moving forward, we can see the Bounty Hunter Shard. I think we covered this in our update video where we talked about the 7.28 update. This shard seemed really good to me, honestly too good, and we can see that the vision that it's going to give your team will end up being nerfed. Broodmother gets a tiny buff on her shard, the Silken Bola. It's a 2-second duration root, and now it'll deal 75 damage per second. Not huge, but should be enough to cancel Blink, I believe. So maybe that's what this change is aimed for. Like, if you throw the bola at someone and you're running to catch up to them, should help you catch people. Looking at Clinks, we can see he's received some nerfs, which I was fully expecting. He was overtuned, and we can see he's received a nerf towards the end of his Death Pact. So essentially, like, once you're maxing out the skill, you're going to get a little bit less damage, but I think that's fine. The hero is probably still in a very good place. His talent, his level 15 talent as well, the CD reduction on Skeleton Walk was probably also a little too good, but I feel like people usually take the Searing Arrows damage, so a little interesting. Enigma, obviously, he had that 10% cooldown reduction at 15, and I think most people take that. They've nerfed it down to 8%. Cooldown reduction, obviously huge for Enigma as a hero. So that nerf might hit him a little bit harder, but we'll see. This is a talent that people usually take, so I'm sure you won't notice 2% very much, but it is just something to keep in mind. And we can see Invoker, more buffs to this Ice Wall. Seems like they're really trying hard to make this Ice Wall thing a thing. It is his Ag Shard, and we can see that the Shard now increases the wall length as well. Which should make it more disruptive in team fights and maybe more of an incentive to buy it. But gold is pretty important for Invoker, and he can farm fast, but I think you prioritize other items. So I expect we'll see a couple more changes to this shard before it really gets used. Down to Juggernaut. These are all nerfs. This Blade Fury shard, I guess it was just a little bit too good for a hero that flash farms like Jug does. Jug usually buys Battle Fury or Maelstrom, and the Swift / Ags was obviously a little bit too good as well. The cast range was just huge. And honestly, this cooldown reduction, actually, the increased cooldown on Swift Slash should make it a little bit less ridiculous. you have this mini Omni Slash on a 20-second cooldown now, which I think feels a lot more fair. Down to Caudle. These are pretty much all buffs from what I can see. They've rescaled this Solar Bind talent to make it just a little bit better at all levels. The Chakra Magic Restore is actually pretty big for him, because it might not seem like a big deal, but that 20 extra mana at those early levels will be pretty huge. Then the Illuminate max damage as well. Obviously kind of nice just to have another 25 damage in there. Down to Kunkka. I haven't really seen this shard much, but looks like it's going to get some buffs. The mana cost 150 is like just a lot for Tide, or for Kunkka, so. And then the cooldown reduction as well, pretty big. Okay, so we can see the interval. So essentially what they've done here is they've made it a little bit worse. Well, the second change makes it a tiny bit better because the overwhelming odds first strike will now happen immediately as you duel, which will help, you know, burst during the fight and then help you get more damage out with it. And obviously it's at a 2-second interval now instead of 1.5, so it'll happen just a little bit less. So if it is a level 1 duel, then obviously it'll happen 2 times during the fight. Well, if it happens immediately, then 2 seconds, maybe 3 times, but we'll see. This might be crazy. The Nihilism Scepter no longer causes you to take increased damage. Leshrac kind of already in a really good spot, so I imagine he'll be buying this more. Keep an eye on this hero for sure. Oh, yeah, here. So they realized they kind of, like, messed up Lifestealer. The base damage increase by 3 is pretty huge. You know, this is them admitting, like, okay, we messed up. Now he has a 10% slow instead of 6%. At level 1 on Ghoul Frenzy, and we can see they increased the movement speed on Rage, and then obviously the mana cost was much needed as well on the Shard, but Lifestealer's still not in a good spot because they really just like took away his core skill and then, you know, made him pay 1,400 to get it back, which just sucks. And they like allocated, you know, the bonus attack speed that used to be on Feast into this Ghoul Frenzy skill. Like, he's in a weird spot right now, so Lifestealer, a little bit better, probably still pretty rough. Down to Lion, we can see the attack speed reduction gets increased on his Shard, but people will not buy this. This Shard needs a lot of work to make it worth it. I wonder, they'll probably make it so it gives him like another Mana Drain beam, and then it'll probably be worth it. But right now, it's just not. I can't imagine any time you're going to buy this Shard. Savage Roar, Shard duration increased. I mean, this is a small buff, but we'll see. I was kind of hyping this up when I was first reading it, because being able to give your teammates Savage Roar is kind of sweet. 5 seconds is a decent amount of time, especially if you have like a Luna on your team. And we can see that she received a buff to her stun duration. I actually just played a game against a Luna who had the Shard. It feels a little bit lackluster right now, so that's what they're trying to make it a little bit better. We can see Lycan gets a nerf on his 15 talent. I think generally you do take the cooldown reduction, because cooldown reduction is just so important for Lycan having his ult up at all times. And I imagine you take the shapeshift duration, but I'm not sure. I think there's a couple different ways you can build Lycan right now. But this is a much needed nerf. I think Lycan was probably a little bit too good. We could see Mirana. Mirana's been pretty solid since she got her buff to the, her buff with the Shard. I've seen a lot of people playing Mirana in my bracket, which is, I'm like Divine 3, Divine 4 right now. So this little nerf, these two little nerfs are going to help a bit, but I think she's still going to be a solid hero. Like, these won't make or break the hero, totally. And we can see they increased the cooldown on the the Shadow Tree Dance Shard. The Shadow Tree Dance, is that correct? I thought it was just Tree Dance. Okay, I don't know. But they increased it, the cooldown, meaning it was probably a little bit too good. And now we can see they actually buffed the Nature's Prophet duration, which is kind of big. I'm not sure what the 1.2 to 1.6 minutes is, though. I'm confused on that. Oh, minimum, not minutes. Okay, minimum. Took me a second there. Yeah, so now you get a 1.6 minimum second root if you buy the Ags, and I've actually played a couple Nature's Prophet games where I went like Atos and Ags. Makes you super tanky, which, you know, Nature's likes to be, he likes to have stats, and honestly, like, if you hit your root on everyone, it's pretty big, so. We can see Nyx actually getting, I want to call this a nerf because I tend to not max out Impale until later. Well, it depends, but usually the situations in which you want to pick Nyx are when mana burn is super valuable, so this is pretty rough, I think. And we can see the mana cost goes up for Vendetta, so maybe Nyx is performing a little bit too good right now. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him much in my games, but he has seemed like a solid pick. Ogre Magi nerfs are appreciated. Base damage reduced by 3 is huge. Makes him, you know, have a harder time bullying you out of lane. And then the Ignite mana cost going up by 10. He's a very mana dependent hero, so that's big. I think this change is pretty irrelevant. I don't think this will be huge, but we'll see. OD is performing horribly right now, if you didn't know. So these are basically, you know, he's like in the same boat as Lifesteal, where he's kind of ruined. So they're going to try and make him better, and they're going to make him way too good, and then he'll be broken. You get the base move speed increased, Arcane Orb damage increased just to 16% at all levels. The cooldown 4% at level 1, or 4 seconds at level 1. It's not bad. The radius increase on Sanity's Eclipse is really big, actually, because Sanity's Eclipse can be just a huge spell in general. And in messy fights where you don't have vision, this could come in clutch. So 25 radius doesn't seem huge, but it will actually be, you know, it may make the difference. Just small buffs like this, you know, help him. He gets an 8 armor talent now at 15, and 30% spell lifesteal at 25. That seems big. From 20%, I mean, 20% is already a lot, but 30% is kind of huge. We'll see. I still think this hero is probably just very weak in lane, but maybe he's getting better. We'll see. PA gets her attack speed reduced on Phantom Strike. Probably necessary, but this hero's still pretty solid. The Shard Illusion damage gets increased. I'm sure this will be helpful, but I haven't seen a lot of people use the Shard yet on PL, so we'll have to see. Dismember Shard reduces cooldown by 7 always instead of by half. Okay. So that's actually really good. The reduced cooldown is going to be pretty helpful. I mean, it sucks because it's not going to be half, but, you know, before it would be on a 10-second cooldown if you use it on your ally, but still, I mean, you get 7 cooldown reduction on the ult no matter what now. Pretty big. Cooldown reduced on Sleeping Dart. I have not seen Ricky's take this. I don't play with Ricky's all the time, but yeah, I've not seen it. And then Rubik here, they buffed the Arcane Supremacy cast range. Like, I can tell you, I just played a Rubik game, you know, in this patch, and I had Telescope, I had Aetherlens, I had maxed out Arcane Supremacy, and I had so much cast range. I honestly, like, it just makes it way too easy to steal stuff. Like, I feel like this has to be nerfed, or it will be nerfed, but we'll see. It might end up taking, like, pro players just demolishing with this for them to realize, like, okay, this is probably not a healthy direction for Rubik, or at least nerf it a little bit, because I just feel like this is way too good right now, but we'll see. Shackles Shard wards duration reduced from 8 to 7, so these wards are a little bit too good right now, so they want to nerf the duration. They'll probably nerf it a couple more times, but we'll see. I know right now, like, clearing waves as Shaman, once you have this 1400 gold item, is just so easy, so yeah, this doesn't surprise me right here with Slark. Nerfing the mana cost, or buffing the mana cost, reducing the cooldown. All this stuff is necessary, and even then, it's 1400 gold, and Slark is a really, like, he is not flash farm. You know, he really needs, like, I mean, some people make Battle Fury on him, different things, but Slark needs this, so we'll see. I still wouldn't buy this shard. Nice little level 10 buff here for Snapfire. Movement speed is very helpful on that hero. 200 health is a lot, though, so maybe it's more of a choice now between the two. Sniper Concussion Grenade, dealing damage. I mean, 125 damage isn't huge, but maybe it's for disabling blinks. So this seems nice. like, I feel like you buy this more just, you know, for the slow and, like, the disarm, but, like, it's good now because then if you push people back, it at least will cancel their blink, like, if it hasn't already been canceled already, you know, with a right click or with shrapnel. A decent buff. I might buy this. Nether Strike shard no longer changes. Okay, so this was way too good, the shard that they gave him, because it made it so Nether Strike was like, you know, you couldn't cancel it. And so now what they've done is they've given you 2 seconds of spell immunity after the cast, which I think this is bad now. We'll see though. Maybe they'll still buy it. Spirit Breaker players. The silence duration on Psionic Trap. I believe this silence only, they didn't write it, but this is only for her shard. And I still don't think people are going to buy it. A 3-second silence is, like, decent, I guess. I'm not sure. We'll see. TA, again, very gold dependent. And honestly, like, the thing with TA is she does fall off. So you need to get your stuff done before, you need to get your damage done before that happens. You cannot be spending, all that on, well, I mean, 1400 isn't a ton, but yeah, maybe a later game item when BKB durations get low. This shard seems okay to me. I've played around with a little bit with it. I haven't played it in an actual game, but I was testing it. So these buffs will probably make it a little bit more value. We'll see. I mean, 50 bonus movements is kind of huge. This DPS on Flamethrower and the slow get increased. Yeah, this will make this a lot better. I'm not sure, like, I mean, 90 DPS isn't huge, but it is kind of a longer duration. It helps you to wave clear. It's 100 mana, though. Timber's a mana-dependent hero. I'm not sure. I'm not a Timbersaw expert. We'll see, though. And they buffed the shield. Maybe this is feeling a little lackluster. I'm not sure, but this looks scary. They're going to buff this, like, 2 more times, and then Tinker's going to be a nightmare. I have seen some Tinker. I've seen people playing him more, and he seems decently strong to me, so we'll have to look at the stats from the Immortal games just to see where he's at, because I'm sure they're monitoring that a little bit more. But, yeah. Buffs to Frozen Sigil. I mean, that's cool, but Frozen Sigil is just not very strong, so it's not super surprising. Maybe they'll just, like, I'm not sure what they'll do with this. I feel like I just would wish, I'd prefer if he had just a different ability. Frozen Sigil just kind of, like, isn't fun, at least for me. Looks like these are buffs to Vengeful Spirit, which is surprising to me. Like, these are buffs in every single way. And I felt like she was decent. I've seen some people trying to run her, like, as a mid, as a carry. It's been different. So maybe, it seems like Valve are really pushing this. But Vengeful Spirit is going to be very, very good soon. We'll see. Buffs to the Shard for Viper. I thought this Shard was pretty boring, but this Shard might be decent now with the max stack increase. I'm not sure. I'm not really a Viper player. We'll have to see how this performs. See if people start picking it up. Visage. Yeah, this nerf was needed, but I still think Visage is way too good. I mean, you're still flying movement type, even though you don't have flying vision. So, like, you can still fly over cliffs and stuff. You just don't get the flying vision. So, you know, if you're up onto like a ward cliff, then you can see around you anyway. So, kind of odd, but I mean, it is definitely a needed buff, but they need to do more because Visage is way too good right now. And then a bit of a nerf on the Immortal Strike for Wraith King. This is pretty small. I mean, this is like a 10 damage nerf at every single level. This is pretty insignificant. We'll see, though. And then Zeus gets a nerf to Static Field. I think this is definitely necessary. Static Field is just such a strong ability. You know, he was giving you 12% health reduction, which is kind of nuts. So, we'll see. But this was just a quick review of, you know, just my immediate thoughts on the gameplay update 7.2a. Thanks for clicking on it. Thanks for checking it out. As you guys can tell, some of the content has shifted over to Dota right now just because these updates are exciting. And obviously, like with League, the LCS doesn't start up until I think January, mid-January, so that'll be coming up. But I believe this video will be posted. I'm recording this one decently ahead of time. This one should be posted on Christmas, so if you guys are watching this on Christmas Day with your new phone or whatever. Thank you guys for checking out the channel and supporting it. Hoping you guys will all have a nice holiday. And yeah, thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you on the next one.